Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I was a county mayor, and that's the best dadgum job I ever had. I know we both come from that background. That's about where the similarities end. But and since I am the 435th most powerful member of Congress, and I am one of the last people to ask the questions, all the good ones have been asked. All the gotchas that are going to get me a good YouTube plug are gone. So I'm just going to ask you some serious stuff, if that's okay with you, brother.
Sounds good.
All right. I'm worried about the charging stations for cars that we don't have on the road right now, and I'm wondering just how many of these charging stations have been funded by the federal government.
Most of the charging
EV.
So most of the charging infrastructure out there today was installed without federal funding because those were the early adopters and the first moves done by the private sector, companies like Tesla and even municipalities installing their own. But by the end of this year, we expect that first wave of the ones that are benefiting from the NEVI program to begin to go out there. And our goal is to have 500,000 chargers by the end of the decade, some of which will have federal dollars into them and some of which will not.
Do you know how many?
I'd have to go back and we're in the tens of thousands right now in terms of the private sector installed base, but okay. I'd have to go back and pull that.
If you could get that for me, I'd really appreciate it. Get it to my office, that'd be great. Another issue I'm concerned about is asphalt. It's the most recycled product probably in the world. I don't know. I think we put down more than 89 million tons in new asphalt construction. Why have state departments of transportation been slow to use reclaimed asphalt pavement? Because it's basically it's just two or three ingredients. I mean, it's gravel, it's the oil-based product, which I would like to see plastic substituted at some time, and you provide a little heat and maybe a little sand for a little bit more filler. But you get the picture. You were a mayor. Why are we not? Why are these locals not using it more? Are they not being encouraged to do it, or? It just seems it's crazy to put that stuff in the landfill.
I think it's a great question. And maybe another area, it turns out we have something in common, is a belief that we ought to be paying more attention to materials, the sourcing of pavement, the durability of pavement. One thing I would mention is that I think often local jurisdictions are under such pressure in the short term, just get the potholes filled. You and I think, both experienced it with the roads we were in charge of, that even if you were offered something that represented a savings for the long run, unless it lets you get another X number of lane miles done this year, you might feel compelled to say no. We'd like to change those incentives. Federal Highways take seriously that it's not our job to dictate to local governments things as detailed as what kind of construction materials they ought to use, but we're trying to get, and we've published information, trying to get more out there about reclaimed and recycled pavements. And more generally, we do have some research that we fund at many institutions around the country on improving pavement durability generally, because I think if you can make the pavement, the asphalt we do have, last just 1 or 2% longer, in effect, you're saving billions of dollars right there.
Absolutely.
I think it deserves more attention.
Let me ask you, it's not in my notes, it's something that I've been researching for over a year now. They started it in India, and I don't necessarily say we ought to do it like they do, but they use plastic. They substitute plastic for oil in their asphalt. And plastic, of course, it's an oil-based derivative. And what they did over there was they basically get a pothole, fill it full of gravel, and burn a bunch of plastic bottles. I don't want to do that. And I know in England, there's a cat over there who did it, and he's got a patented process or whatever they call it. And there's people in this country doing it. Could you commit to me that you would have somebody from your office get with me and let's work on that? Because plastics are, they're forever. I mean, heck, they're out there, they're floating in your streams and my streams, they're in the ocean, these horrible pictures you see. I hate seeing some poor animal out there, one of God's great creatures, got a six-pack thing around their neck, choking them out. And I just don't dig that at all. And I would hope that we could work through that. I mean, there's a use for some of this stuff. And in technology, we're going to phase it out, but it's still going to be there. And it's ridiculous to throw this stuff in the landfill. It's just wasted. If you would just commit to me to have somebody call me, this isn't a gotcha. This is an honest situation. I think we could get a bipartisan group to work on that. Could you do that for me, brother?
I'd be happy to. I'd love to explore that with you.
And tell me how to say your last name one more time.
Buttigieg. You can just call me Pete, sir.
Buttigieg? Okay, I'm Burchett, and nobody ever gets that right either, so we're good. But thank you, brother. It's been a pleasure.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Chairman,
Representative.
yield back nothing to you.